So, do you think it's safe to say we've had a revival?
Definitely. Over the last 6 or 7 months, there's been a lot of ups and downs and changes and moments with God that were unexpected and definitely needed.
It's definitely been a pretty wild ride. I can't help but think back to, I guess, say St. Patrick's Day, when everything first started happening. It started to create, I know for me, and I know you were in the same boat, it led to uncertainty. And this was when I was working, and coronavirus, here it was, you were starting to learn about it, things were starting to shut down. There was already this palpable uncertainty that had moved into everyone's life. It wasn't unique to us, obviously. But at that time, I was still employed, and life was churning along. We were doing all right, making the best of it. And then the uncertainty got a little extra weight put on it right on March 31st. Amber remembers, it was raining, and I got a ping on my phone to have a phone call at 5 p.m. I was like, oh, great. I knew what it was. Amber knew what it was. I went out to the car and took my medicine, and I'd been furloughed with no pay. And they had said 60 days, but there really was no end in sight. Working in aviation, coronavirus, airports weren't doing anything. So the writing was kind of on the wall, but that was certainly a hammer to the forehead on top of all of it, I would say.
And thinking back to that night, I've been in a small group for over 10 years, and that night we were meeting on Zoom, and I just think back how that was just perfectly timed by God, because being able to just cry with them and talk over things with them, it was just so important. And
unfortunately for me, I was my usual self. I must be thick-headed. I feel like God brings out his big guns sometimes on me. As many people may know watching this video, I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering alcoholic. So this uncertainty that had popped up on the whole world, and then, steamrolled through my front door when I was furloughed, that uncertainty is the fuel that feeds my fear. So frankly, I found myself in a very low place, which isn't good for Amber, it's not good for our kids, it's not good for our household. But I was definitely in a low place. And fortunately, this time around, like Amber was just describing her community, I was surrounded by people in a community that were, let's say coming out of the woodwork. They were coming out of the woodwork. We didn't have to worry about where the next meal was coming from. Still very daunting with 4 kids and not having a clue where your next paycheck's gonna come from, but very impressive, and you could just feel God's presence in that time with the people that just popped up. I'd just get something in the mail. People would call me, they'd be slick. Where do you live? What's your address again? Next thing you know, here comes a gift card for $100 for the Publix across the street to make it.
And moments like that continue to happen through the whole entire journey, through the summer and into the early fall, up until Sam started his new role. So many just blessings poured in, and that was just another way that God's presence just remained steady in our house and kept us grounded, and I think in a calmer place. And then on top of that, the endless prayers from so many around us.
Yeah, I know probably about April 5th, I said, you know what? I'm approaching this logically and it's not working. It's always my gut instinct. I'm gonna logically do this, I'm gonna fix it. I started going online, there was no jobs. It was a fruitless effort. I said, all right, we're gonna do it one day at a time. And we committed as a family, we're gonna do it one day at a time with God as our beacon to point us in the right direction.
And we made a decision, I think, right there in that moment, for our home to not feel heavy for our kids. We really just invited God in to have this time be something that was positive in their life.
And yet again, here's this huge negative thing that has happened in my life that God has come through and be like, oh, no, you're not a victim, Sam, nor is your family. You're actually lucky, because this is just the way I'm gonna further my relationship with you and further your faith in me. That truly is where the revival happened. I said I tried to approach this logically. It didn't work. Logically didn't work. I had to go 100% back into my faith. We talk about it all the time. We felt like prior to coronavirus, yes, I'm living life from a grateful perspective. I'm waking up every morning. I have regimented prayers I'm doing in recovery, and I'm facing every day with an open, grateful heart. God, use me at your will. I'm here for you. And I'm approaching that gratefully, I thought. And it turns out once my job went away, I literally felt I deserved what I had. And frankly, I didn't even realize how important what I had was and what God had given me was until it disappeared overnight. And that truly has been, it's just produced a revival in my heart. Once again, it's taken my faith to the next level, which I know Amber is the same way. And frankly, that allows me to have that conversation with my kids and to have gotten this kind of blessing in the midst of all this hardship that still continues to happen to people all around us in this community, in our country, and in this world.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like just every day our faith grew throughout the summer, and we, for the first time, I feel like we just stopped the worry and really just focused and just giving it over to God and praying every day for us to stay in that mindset and to just make memories with our kids. And that was kind of our focus every morning. And right at the end of August, he got a phone call from one of his former supervisors, vice president that he had worked for, and led him to interviewing for a new company that we knew nothing about prior. And within a couple weeks, I think he actually had been hired and given a start date.
Process I've ever been through.
Yeah.
It was lightning fast, almost too fast. I was like, whoa, hold up, what's going on here? But yeah, it's been wonderful. I've been in the new position since the beginning of September. It's actually a better opportunity in the long run, and just, it's mind-blowing. I still haven't come to grips that God would have given me this blessing, especially knowing how hard it is out there for so many other people right now. But I have no doubt that that was his plan.
We still remain so changed even now, which is the gratitude. Just, we just feel grateful for every moment, just to have, a healthy moment with our kids and to be able to go grocery shopping. And I think, we're just in a place where we just know that it's God's blessing and it's His money, and that
That's right.
I think we've learned about just even more than before giving and how that should be, and just how God really taught us that lesson. And I think we just feel comfort that God really has a purpose and has a plan, and I think this was one of the the better times that we really trusted that. And so I feel like that was just such a revival in our home and continues to be. And it's a journey every day that we have to be aware of and still make sure we're actively staying in that place, in a place of prayer. But I do think that has changed our household for the long run, hopefully.
For sure.